Marx and Engels have talked about a number of different ways that capitalism has consequences. A lot of them stood out to me, but one in particular was the way they talked about how there's a need for a lower class. The only way for people to succeed is to have those people at a lower level. And when you think about the idea of those people eventually realizing what's going on and having to fight back and having to revolt over what's happening, I mean, you see it in a lot of history. Like, if you look at the Revolutionary War, these people were used here in America to form infrastructure and all this stuff, and they eventually realized what was going on and fought back against those who were in more power. So it makes a lot of sense for me to think about having that world where a lower class is developed and they eventually figure out that the only reason the wealthy people are succeeding are because of them. And if there's no lower class able to do the work and able to put in the effort to make the products that are making these people earn millions and millions of dollars, then there is no upper class. And I think that's a very interesting idea. I do find all three social paradigms very interesting, and I think they all have their pros and cons. For instance, the conflict theory, I do believe that the idea that we're all in groups and composed of different organizations and institutions, but the idea that we're only here fighting over valued resources, I struggle with a little bit, because it implies that we're here solely to have unequal distribution of power and unequal distribution of resources. And unfortunately, that's what capitalism opposes, but I feel like you have a greater opportunity for other ideas. I think functionalism is a great idea as well, the idea that we're here to meet basic human needs. But personally, I feel like there's something more and something missing from this paradigm, that there's interrelated institutions. Yes, I 100% agree that we're separated into categories and groups and cultures, and those, in a way, could be called institutions. And they're all each performing a function for society, but I do feel like there's a way to intertwine them that I felt like this reading didn't show enough. My personal favorite paradigm is the idea of symbolic interactionism. Max Weber, I feel like, described this very well in the idea that human society is composed of individuals acting and on the basis of shared meanings and understandings and expectations. I do feel like people are here and acting based on other human interaction and the way that we compose our lives and the way that others compose their lives, and able to play off of one another and be in a culture that may be different than others, but be able to use those other cultures to further ourselves and all the perfect goal into our ending goals. And I feel like that is the social paradigm that would be my favorite, just because I feel like it most interlines with my beliefs and the way that I believe society runs and the way I believe that human interaction is the most important part of our lives, because we're able to play off of one another, and the only way to get to where we're going is by talking to people and being with people and using people to the point where we can get to where we need to go. One question I'd like to raise for my classmates is the idea that dehumanizing and alienating the working class, and the idea that Marx talked about, and that's how capitalism works. We see that a lot in other industries as well, including healthcare. I know a hot topic nowadays is the idea of medical residents and the issues with doctors being overworked and pimped and doing all of these things. So could you tie in another industry, for instance, whether it be the criminal justice situations or anything else, where there is clear evidence of a lower class within that industry or culture being alienated or dehumanized? My second question that I raised to my classmates is on the idea that we watched in the Khan Academy video, the macro sociology versus micro sociology. I'd like you to challenge yourself to look at a culture or an aspect of your life where you can look at it through a macro sociological level and a micro sociological level. For example, for me, I would do something like U Sciences, When I look at youth sciences at a macro sociological level, some things I would look at are tuition prices, resident halls, ways people are living throughout the campus and how it affects the entire campus. At a micro sociological level, I would look at maybe people in my major, such as neuroscience, where it's a smaller group. Try to do that for a different culture that you're a part of.